Gerard got kicked. She's in between internet service, so she got kicked out. So she'll probably return back. So good evening. My name is Mr. Arzalaga, the principal. If you guys haven't met me in the 3 years I've been principal here, uh, sorry if we're meeting for the first time under these circumstances. I know it's no one's choice to be in these circumstances, but here we are, so we have to make the most out of it. I definitely wanted to have a senior meeting uh, to address a lot of the concerns that having and also the parents are having in terms of end of year items. So some of the things we'll go through pretty quickly. Some of the things we might have a little bit longer discussion. So I did paste in the chat the presentation I'm going to use just to keep me on task. Uh, and I'll open it up as we go along for questions so that we're not sort of just sort of hear me speak the whole time. I want to definitely ask your questions. There's too much noise. I'll run down to the base. I apologize. My little guy is bouncing around. There's too much noise. Let me know. I will run to the basement in give me 30 seconds, I guess. Sorry, hope that's better. I apologize for that. Yesterday he was fine. Today he wants to, I guess throw everything around the house and make noise. I apologize for that. Okay, so let me just share my screen. So I know Mr. Soros is in the room. So if you want to yell up, there's a question in chat. I'm not going to be able to see chat because I'm presenting. So if Mr. Soros, if I can ask you just to sort of monitor the chat in case someone has a question. This is the so welcome again. This is can everyone hear me? Just want to make sure everyone.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Thanks. Okay, so this is the agenda we're going to talk about today. So senior progress, one-on-one counselor, what that is. Talk about the important things senior dues and graduation, diplomas, and at the end, the last two things are just reminders from yesterday's meeting, from last month's meeting. So that's something that's very, very quick. Okay, so big thing I want to make sure I know this is end of year stuff, and we're seniors and we want to graduate, but the only way I can graduate you is if you have 44 credits, and the 44 credits has to be in the right places. So this is the bare minimum. Most of you have way more than what you see here, which is fine, but we want to make sure we have the credits in the right spot. Throughout, the years, I always run into a few students that says, hey, I already have 44 credits. Why can't I graduate? Well, they have to be in the right spot. So when speaking to Ms. Janvier um, about your credits, she's going to look at this stuff. She's going to make sure that you have this bare minimum. So if you have Pupil Path, your child can show it to you, or you have Pupil Path access, you can go on there and you'll see the transcript side of it. And you just got to make sure at this point you have 8 credits in ELA, which is EES. It might be coded a little bit different, but you should see something that looks something like EES 81 through 87 at this point, and you should be scheduled currently for EES 88. If you're a STEAM student, you've taken it, you passed it, you have no English this year because you took it last year, but every other senior, you're taking EES 88 right now. Even if you're taking AP English, that is your EES 88 class. You must pass it in order to graduate. Math, you should have 6 credits of math. For the most part, you might have MES 21 to 22 or 41 through 44. You should have 2 credits of geometry and at least 2 credits of algebra 2 or something of that nature, but you should have 6 credits of math. Social studies, It's 8 credits. You need a global 1 through 4, which is ACS 41 through 44, US 1 and 2, government and economics, which is a senior year course. So you have to make sure you're passing these social studies courses now. All of you either have Mr. Oibolo or Ms. Sorial. STEAM students already passed it, so they're done. But if you must pass those courses, you don't pass it again, you cannot graduate. Science, same thing with math. You need 6 credits. You might have a living environment 1 and 2, and a chemistry, that's the SC, physics, SP, or like an environmental science, or a SD, like S like Sam, D like dog. You have to have 6 credits, but they have to be in certain sequences, so you have to complete the course, and that's pretty much the gist of the science. Phys ed, you have to pass all of your phys ed credits. We must be able to show that you took phys ed every semester of high school. Plus, you must pass health. Some of you are taking health now with either Mr. Ingram or Mr. Ulrich. You guys have to make sure you're passing that course, the health course, because again, if you don't pass that course, you cannot graduate. And then the last thing, you have to have a minimum of 7
Yo,
credits in
mute
electives.
yourself, my boy.
I got it. Thanks. I think I found it. Okay, so if you guys can mute yourselves, I lost it. I had it and then it moved. Okay, sorry. Okay, and you have to have a minimum of 7 credits in CTE. This is the courses either start with a T, a K, an R, or a B, depending on what school. If you came from another school, it might be a B or something else. Those are elective credits, but you have to have a minimum of 7. We give you up to 11 credits at Westinghouse, so you'll have more than enough by the time you graduate, but you have to have the right sequence, especially if you are looking for the CTE endorsement on your diplomas. You have to make sure you pass the sequence in order to get that endorsement on your diploma. Okay, of course, senior project with Regents. I know it's a little bit different this year because of the remote learning and the cancellation of Regents. But in order with those waivers, you have to complete the course, which is the previous slide.
I'm sorry, Mr. Azwaga. You
Yes.
forgot to mention art and Spanish.
Oh my goodness, yes. I'm sorry. I'm like, what am I missing? I feel like I'm missing something. Thank you, Ms. Shea. So yes, you need 2 credits of Spanish, foreign language. You might have had Ms. Hurley. You might have had somebody else prior to that. And you also need music, which is Mr. Ryan, or you need art. So thank you. I'm sorry, Ms. J. You're right. Very, very important. We must make sure we put that in here. Try to squeeze that in there. For language, FSS 21, 22, and you need the music. So you might see like a UAS 21, UPS 21, something like that, or 11, or like an AA course. It starts like an A. If it's an art course, it starts with an A. As long as we see 2 credits there, you're good. Okay. So you need that as well. Thank you, Ms. Janvier. I can't believe I missed that. Okay. Sorry, I went too fast. Okay. So Regents, you have to have your 5 at a minimum, 5 Regents, 1 in ELA, 1 in math, 1 in US history, 1 in global history, and 1 in science. You can do something like a 4+1 if you pass an additional science course or an additional math course, math Regents. You can waive 1 social studies Regents as long as you have that, or if you pass a CTE course in culinary or electrical, the actual culminating exam, you can get a social studies exam waived. But as long as you have all of those courses passed that we saw in the previous slide, then you're going to get the Regents waiver regardless. So this is a great year for those students who have not yet completed all the Regents requirements. It's a great year to kind of make sure we have all of our credits in place. So I just want to put that out there because our concern is looking at attendance every day. I don't see 100% of my seniors in class every day. I get it. Some of you guys have commitments. Some of you guys, had a job and maybe a switch to a day shift, and you became an essential worker due to this crisis. I understand, but share that. Don't be a stranger. Share that with us, and you still must complete your credit requirements in order to get out of high school. So we want to make that very, very clear. I can't graduate you because you were doing the right thing and supporting your family by going out there and working, I still can't graduate you. Thank you for that. Thank you. Your family thanks you, but the state is unrelenting, and I cannot give a diploma unless you meet all the requirements that that makes you a high school grad. So please keep that in mind. No matter how much of a nice person you are, uh, make sure you meet your requirement. Doesn't matter if we got along or not. Doesn't matter if you're crying to me all day, every day. I can't help you if you're not doing the right thing in terms of earning your credits and having all your regions in place. The regions should be taken care of this year because of this crisis, but your credit responsibility, make sure we knock those things out. Okay, I'm gonna pause there for a second. If we have any quick questions on that, I will pause just to address any questions with that. Okay, so we'll move on. Thank you for that. Okay, upcoming dates. Next Monday, finally we get a day off. No school on Monday. It's Memorial Day. June 4th is that Brooklyn Queens Day, or now we call it Anniversary Day. There's no school. On that day, teachers still may give you homework, so just keep an eye on that, but you don't have to log in or anything. There's no school that day. Someone's trying to come in. Sorry. Okay. June 12th is the end of the third market period. June 25th, which we'll talk about in a second, is graduation. I'm trying to admit somebody. You guys see that? June 26th is the last day of school, and I put it down there just to put it out there, just to show you. First day of summer school is July 6th. I know yesterday, if you were at the parent meeting, I said July 13th. Right after we ended the meeting, got an email from the chancellor saying that he pushed summer school back a week, pretty much where it's supposed to be. So now it's July 6th, and you see the second bullet, or the first bullet, it's there. Please, no seniors. Okay, it is remote learning structure, so we're not going to be the building. But again, please, no seniors. I don't want to see any of you guys in summer school. Make sure you take care of your responsibilities now. You have now until June 13th to make sure you pass your courses so we can graduate you, so you can have that big weight off your shoulder and just be ready for graduation. And in case we don't make it for whatever reason, summer school is from July 6th to August 14th. So in case you have vacation plans or going away, whatever it is, this is the summer school schedule for just an FYI, okay? Okay. Ms. Janvier and Ms. Bacino will be working from now until the foreseeable future, talking to each student one-to-one and some of you already had the conversation, so they may not contact you, but pretty much they're going to speak to you about your post-secondary plans. If we're going to college, if we're going to the military, we're going to work, we need to know that stuff. And there's also some other things we have to fill out in terms of the status of your FAFSA, if you did apply for that, any other financial information, any other pertinent information that I don't recall from the form, but Ms. Janvier and Ms. Butina will be reaching out. Please do not avoid them. It's a quick conversation, and they have a lot of seniors to cover. So please, if they make the time for you, or they made the arrangements, please make the appointment, keep the appointment, and just answer the questions as quick as possible. We know plans change. So right now, what's our plan? Our plan is to go to this college, and I applied for FAFSA already. I did this, I'm that, I'm good. And that's it. And we check the box, and we do what we have to do, and then we keep it moving. So please do not avoid that call, because it gives her during the work, because she got a lot of seniors, like I mentioned. Okay. All right. Here's the big ticket item. Senior dues. We've got a lot of emails and calls and messages. How do we get a refund of our senior dues? How do we do that? And I didn't have an answer because I wasn't really given guidance on this. So we have, I would say we're about 90% of the way there in terms of guidance regarding senior dues. What we have at this point is that, of course, we don't have a live graduation venue. We were supposed to be at City Tech, the new building. I was there. There's an auditorium there. We were supposed to be there. The college is closed down like everything else, so we had to cancel that venue. We are going to refund the cost of the venue and the caps and gowns and diploma cases. So pretty much that amounted to a $50 reduction across the board. So your senior dues have dropped down from $275 to $225. Okay, So that's something you're going to get reimbursed back. That $50 provided you paid your senior dues, you are going to get reimbursed back. And I'll speak about how we're going to get that back to you. You are going to get, if you paid money for the prom and the senior trip, whatever money you paid towards that, you are going to get a refund of that as well. So we have some students who paid the senior dues in total, their prom in total, and their senior trip in total. So they're going to get back over $600 once we process those refunds. Some students paid partial. Some students paid a little bit on senior dues and a little bit on senior trip, little by little. So whatever it is, you're gonna get reimbursed back depending on whatever and that's the next slide, whatever you paid, and I'll talk about that in a little more detail. The DOE is going to cover the cost of the cap and gowns and diploma cases for all students. So all graduates, the DOE will cover that cost as well. We're returning that cost back to you. So the DOE is going to pay for that, and we're working on securing the vendor, and this is what's taking a little bit longer because now we have to go through this bidding process. We have to call up a bunch of vendors and say, hey, how much are your cap and gowns? Even though we have the person and they start delivering items, we still have to go back to that process and say, go to like 3 different stores and find out how much it is and come up with a comparison and justify why we're going with this person and not the cheaper person. So it's a little bit of a legwork and it's a struggle. That's why it's taking a little bit longer than we would like because of the red tape we have to go through in order to get the DOE to reimburse that cost. But lo and behold, we're going to make that happen. So the DOE is covering that. The items will be shipped to your homes. That was the other challenge we had. We thought the vendor can ship directly to your house. They didn't allow that. That's the other thing. So if you're not a contracted vendor, you're not allowed to, for privacy reasons, they're not allowed to know where you live. We're not allowed to provide the information, the home information stuff. So all the items will be shipped to the building. And then we have to hire another vendor who is contracted to kind of ship caps and gowns to everyone's individual house. If you guys order the device through the DOE, the iPad that you got, the same vendor will be the ones delivering. I think they're using that vendor now. They're using Perfect Courier to deliver the iPads now. I know they were using like USPS and stuff. I think they switched because I think people are getting a little quicker now. Is there something in chat? I just switched. I apologize for that. Was there something? Just check the chat real quick. Deluxe Courier. Sorry, Ms. Caprio. Thank you. Okay. Okay. Next slide, and then I guess we'll go over that. So, every you do package. So again, you guys signed a contract at the beginning of the year, and in terms of the package you selected. So I just listed in very small detail what you got in terms of the package, and there were some other hidden costs. Things like the cost of the programs, the cost of the venue itself, the cost of printing the prom tickets, buying decorations and stuff. So all that stuff adds up as well, like as everyone knows. So if you throw a party, you think it's just the food, the DJ, and that's it. But you got to pay for a place, you got to pay for decorations, tables, all that stuff. So same type of thing. So if you select the package A, you got a prom ticket, you got a senior hoodie and a T-shirt, you got the graduation photo package. You got you order the yearbook, you get the cap and gown diploma case, and then of course a graduation venue. Package B, includes everything in package A, ticket, and then package C was like, you know what, I don't want any of that stuff. I just want a cap and gown diploma case, and I want to be able to walk down the aisle. And that was package C. So that was the most inexpensive package, but of course you got the least amount of items. So everyone, as long as you paid something, like I said, towards the senior dues up to the minimum price, which I'll show you the next slide, you're going to get a refund back. Okay. Let me just go to the next slide. I guess we'll answer the questions from there. So package A and B, the cost is $225 for senior dues. And again, package A also included the price of the prom, which was an additional $175. So you add that up, that's what you'll kind of, everyone, so you commit to that, and you got goods, and we ordered goods for you, even if you didn't pay in full. We had to order it. The pictures are there. Some of you guys were asking about the senior pictures. The reason why you didn't get them yet is because you still owe the balance. So, of course, we couldn't release until you get the balance. If you order rings, Miss Evans says she has the rings also that came in. That's something that's separate. If you order rings again, she has them as well. And then package C, of course, was the $50. So the bare minimum for just the cap and gown and the diploma cases is $50. Uh, and that's how you notice that we reduced the price by $50. So let me just pause here. Let me answer any questions you guys may be having. Does anyone have a question on this? The big question, Joel asked, is there a plan to have graduation after quarantine ends, or we're going to do a virtual graduation, and we'll talk about that the next slide. Uh, I know Ms. Soriel wants to do something possibly, as we get further and further, move away from that June target graduation date, it gets harder to get people together. I was hoping we were able to be back in the building sometime in the summer, whatever it is. But right now they're telling us we can't even return to the building for summer school. So that, that takes out the opportunity to have a graduation over the summer. So the only time that we're thinking maybe that we might be able to have something is probably around Thanksgiving. Usually that's when colleges let out and they let people go home for, to visit family, have graduation, not graduate, sorry, have the Thanksgiving celebration. So that might be a time where we can target possibly doing something, some sort of like get together in terms of a celebration, as well as maybe an evening event where there's some dancing and stuff like that. So that was a question I caught in chat. How would the refunds be distributed? So around the same time when we get the cap and gowns in the building, I'm gonna have to go back into the building anyway to start working on getting those packages together for the courier. Ms. Caprio agreed to sneak in with me. So the way it works out for us, we're going to write a school check because that's, when you guys gave us money, we deposit into the school account, and that's a separate account from our regular DOE budget. So we have to, in order for us to write a check against, we have to have 2 signatures plus the secretary to write the check. So there has to be kind of 3 people get together to write a check to everyone. So what will happen is, as we send out those packages, inside that package will be the check, the reimbursement check for whatever amount, and Miss Evans will be in touch in terms of the individual amount. I'm not going to share who's getting whatever it is, and then you guys can do the math and figure out what exactly you're owed back. But like I mentioned, you have to meet that minimum threshold of paying the dues because, again, it's a course that you guys committed to. We still receive the pictures. We have the hoodies. We have the T-shirts. We have the diploma case, all that stuff. But again, we'll give you back the money for diploma cases and the cap and gown because that's something that DOE is reimbursing. But everything else, we still have costs to cover. We still have to pay the vendor. So, the minimum price as to what you committed to, you have to still meet that. So if you have a balance, some of you guys had, we saw a couple of students that paid $200 towards their senior dues, which means that before we had the reduction, you owed another $75. Now you only owe $25, so to speak. So you may not get a refund if you only owed that. If you did pay, let's say $200 towards your senior dues, and you paid, let's say, $100 deposit for your senior trip, we'll take the additional $25 that you owe towards your dues, and we'll cut you a check for $75, so to speak, for example. Okay, so we are gonna sort of, with that, when you get your cap and gowns inside there, there'll be a little in how much how much we're reimbursing back, and the check will be there as well, and an envelope for you. And I think we're gonna make it out to the parent just in case the student doesn't have proper ID. We'll make it out to the parent so that it can be cashed. So we'll make sure we have that in the packet. I see it. We've seen the packages be mailed to us. Yes, as long as there's no balance owed. Yes, as long as you owe a balance and we have to give you back money, anything that we owe you will be in that packet. So let's say now all of a sudden, you owe $20 towards the senior dues before, and we couldn't release anything to you. Now we owe you money. So now we're going to give you a hoodie, even though the weather's getting warmer. I'm still wearing a hoodie. The T-shirt. We'll give you your senior photos if we have them, if you didn't pick them up yet. If we have a ring, you paid for it, put that in the package as well. So it's going to take a little bit of time to kind of go through each one to create 170 individual packets. But at a bare minimum in your packet, you're going to have the cap and gowns, plus hopefully a check, and then maybe the photos and stuff like that. Okay, it'll be directly to your house. We're going to make sure we have the correct address. Okay, so everything that you committed to and ordered, we'll make sure that you will get that. We'll get that over to you in that package that will be shipped sometime mid-June. Okay, that's a good question. I see how we make selections for which photos we want. I don't know. Is Miss Evans on the call? Not sure if she is or not.
I am.
Can you
I'm
answer
sorry.
that question?
Let me see the question again.
So how do we make selections for which photos we want?
So the selections were already made.
Okay.
I'm not. Is that Fred Ramirez's mom or a parent?
I'm assuming so.
The students. The students had already made their selections on the one pose that they were getting in their package, and they did that maybe about 2 months ago, if not longer, maybe 2 or 3 months ago, a while ago. If we've been in, I mean, I forgot how long we've been doing remote learning, so time is a blur.
Yeah, we've been doing remote learning since March 23rd, so it's been a while.
I have no concept of time at this point.
Mahogany asked a great question. How would you pay the balance owed? I'm trying to still work. CareMonkey has a system where we can actually accept payments, but I still can't get it to work. It doesn't like my tax ID number, even though it's correct. So if push comes to shove, unfortunately, you would have to wait until we distribute diplomas. I'll talk about diplomas in a little bit, and then we'll sort of, give us the balance owed. We'll give you everything that you need when you pick up diplomas, stuff like that. Okay. So, but for the most part, we're going to try to get you these checks back, like I said, mid-June. I know some of it is not, life-changing. We're talking $25, $50, but some people, it's a significant amount of money. I see people that we owe them over $600. That's a lot of money. So we want to make sure we get that back to you as quick as possible. I've been trying to get it back. I've been asking forever. I said, we have the money to count. Why can't we give it back? They keep telling me, Joe, you can't go in the building. You can't go in the building. Finally, they're saying, okay, you got it. You can't go in the building. Just sort of, we got to err with a side of caution. You got to be separate places, and there's certain things guidelines that we have to meet, but we should be okay with that. Okay. So remember, so Jada, so the question is, there's a balance of $50 owed on package A. Will I still get it? So again, we're going to drop. Remember, we're going to reduce it. So if you owed money, and again, this conversation you can have with Miss Evans afterwards. You may break even at this point. I have some students who actually broke even as a result of the reduction. Remember, package A included the price of the prom ticket. So if you paid money towards the prom, we took some of that money and just sort of made sure we are paid up for our senior dues, and whatever balance is owed after that, we give it right back. So I want to give back as much as we can, but again, we still have costs and overhead that we have to cover based on the items that we already ordered for you. So this is sort of the best case scenario that we can do. Okay. Is it too late to order pictures? Unfortunately, yes. Is that right, Miss Evans? Too late to order pictures?
So it is not. It's too late to order pictures through us, but you can go directly through the photography studio and go to them and get pictures. But I will say that it is very, very expensive to order through them directly.
Okay. So does that make sense? So you may want to, you may want to probably just find another photographer once you have the cap and gown and everything, and maybe just find a photographer to do it on your own, as opposed to trying to go, I guess, with the vendor at this point, because I guess they give us a package deal because they have such a volume of kids, and they always have like a sitting fee and everything. They never go like a JCPenney or like a Kmart, whatever it is, to take those photos, which I do every once in a while. They always charge, like, they give you a great deal. Hey, $20 for pictures, great. But then sitting fee is another $10 for everyone in your family. So now that city, and for every pose, and all of a sudden that $20 package turns into a $300 package because they charge you a sitting fee and poses and all that stuff. So just to put it out there. I know Tasia asked a question about if you pay the full amount of senior dues for package A, how much you get back. So it's everything minus the price of the senior dues. So 225 is the price of the senior dues based on that package with the yearbook, the cap and gowns, all that stuff. So we're just subtracting $50 for the cap and gowns and the venue and tickets and all that stuff. So the price for the senior dues was 275, up it down to 225. So you'll get that back. The full price for the prom if you paid the whole thing, and the full price for your senior trip, which if you paid the whole thing, you'll get that back. The rings are a separate cost; it's a separate expense, and anyone who paid the $100 sort of got the rings, and Miss Evans has them. We'll put that in the package as well. You are still getting your books in addition to an e-yearbook. So that's a good question. Thank you for that, Elise. So the yearbook is coming. We're still finalizing it. We're waiting for the actual cap and gown pictures to come from the photographer, so we can put in the yearbook and populate that. They're also waiting for my speech, my little statement that I always write every year. So I apologize for that. But you're also going to get an e-yearbook. The e-yearbook is like a Google Doc type of thing where you guys can actually send out your yearbook and have them sign it, and then you'll get that. You'll sort of get that electronic copy of the yearbook signed. The big tradition around yearbooks is that the fun thing is that, hey, can you sign my yearbook? Can you sign my yearbook? And then everyone writes, keep in touch. And you put a phone number that 6 months later gets disconnected. But, it's a great little thing because, hey, stay up, and nice little anecdote that you guys do for each other. You have teachers sign and stuff. So there is another feature that they are throwing in there due to this crisis, is throwing in an e-yearbook at the same time. So you are going to get a physical yearbook, and you'll get the e-yearbook where you can sort of bounce around and send people links to have them sign that. At least you'll have that as a memento. Okay. Virtual quotes. Thank you, Mr. Storis. Yeah. Senior quotes or not. Yes. So we're going to talk about that in a second. So did I answer every question, all the questions on the senior due stuff? I know there's probably a lot more we probably think. It's probably a little bit more, Mr. Storis. It might be more than 650 if you don't owe anything. I think it might be a little bit more. Might be. But around there, ballpark. Okay. Okay. We move on. Okay. Graduation, as I hinted, is going to be virtual. We have not yet selected the vendor who's going to do it, but it will be a virtual graduation, and we want to make it. Nice. So I was speaking with Ms. Caprio, Ms. Evans, Ms. Soriel was on it as well. And, I was just brainstorming some ideas. And again, I'm not very, very creative in terms of venues and stuff. I'm more of a introvert. So I was just thinking, okay, we've definitely got to have minimum things. We're going to have speeches from people, which I'll go back to the slides to mention the speeches. I also want to be able to have all of the graduation photos. And I also want to be able to have the vendor, because we do it virtual. I want to be able to give you your moment to sort of shine, to have whoever's in your house sort of cheer for you and stuff. So I want to be able to cut to every graduate, as long as you have like a little bit of warning. So the warning will probably be your graduation picture come up, and it's alphabetical, so you'll know when you're up. And then you guys will get ready, and they'll cut to your computer, your live feed, and you guys will cheer for 10 seconds, whatever it is, and then they'll cut to the next person, so on and so forth. So that's one thing I want to have happen. And my thing is like, what, technology is there, we can make this happen. It's just a matter of having somebody do it. I don't want to be the one to sort of doing it and control it. Like right now, I'm hosting the whole meeting. I'm switching from my presentation, back monitoring chat. It's a one-man show, and it's a little bit difficult. So I want to have the vendors kind of do it, and they definitely have the capability to do it. It might be a Microsoft Teams thing where they can hold up to 10,000 participants. It might be a Facebook thing. Whatever it is, they'll let us know what the venue is, and we'll make sure that depending on how many people we need to get participants to jump in on the graduation feed, we'll be able to accommodate that need. So that's something we're going to be asking you as well, as we'll have the one-to-ones. How many people do you think you want to be able to witness your graduation? And so we can send the links out so that we can sort of get a head count, because every venue has a different, I guess, a limitation on how many participants they have. So I think Hangouts, of course, we said only holds 250. That's not enough, so we're not going to do Hangouts. But Microsoft Teams, I saw, can hold up to, I think, 10,000 people, which is way more than enough. But it might have its own flaws, maybe have some security thing that we don't know. So we'll figure it out and we'll let you guys know. We have not yet identified the vendor, but once we do, we're going to have them do a couple of things. So one thing we need from you is the valedictorian, and Ms. Janvier is going to reach out to them, the valedictorian speech, the salutatorian speech, and I also want to have the senior class president address the senior class. It can be a brief little thing, saying, hey, senior class is, let's cheer, whatever it is, maybe do something like that. Whatever it is, but I definitely want to have a senior class sort of address. I want her to address people who voted for her and her party and stuff like that. So I want to have those three things. We can have it pre-recorded or we can have it live. I'd rather be pre-recorded just in case you get cold feet the day of, so that we have it ready. But what I need from you and then other ideas as well, and we can actually host some senior graduation brainstorming meetings in the afternoons, is I need videos of you guys. I need pictures. I need videos. I need anything that you guys took at Westinghouse. You guys all have in your phones. Anything you took in front of the mural. Anything you took down the cafeteria, the hallway, whatever it is. Something that we can remember it by. So as we're recording the thing, at least we can go back and look at it and smile and remember our time in the building, which is great. I'm sorry that this opportunity got yanked from you. I know it is bittersweet, but we're going to rise from this. We're going to be better people because of it. It might drive us to sort of be, now, you know what? I wanted to be an engineer. Now I'm going to be a biologist because I got to figure out, I can't believe that we have to wait over a year for a vaccine. That's not acceptable. So I want to do this now. Maybe this drives you for something different. So I just want to put it out there, but I definitely need that from you guys. I can't have you guys sort of saying, you know what, screw it. I don't want to be involved. It's a raw deal. We're all in it. You guys are feeling it, and I do apologize. And I wish I could make it better, but this is the best we can do at this time. But you guys can make it better by contributing your personal photos, your photos, like whatever it is that you want to do. It'll be great. And Kiara, you better not change your major because you are going to be the reporter that we're going to see on TV. So you're not allowed to change your major. Kiara, we're going to do it sometime. As soon as you get your package, the mail, that'll be there. So it'll probably be mid-June. So give us about a couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks at most. We're going to order whatever we have to order. We'll make sure we make arrangements. Once that stuff's in the building, we'll get the packages going. So sometime mid-June, it'll be in the mail, and we'll let you guys know as soon as that stuff gets in the mail, or we'll say, hey, the packages have been picked up by the vendor, expect it in a day or two, whatever it is. Okay. At the same time you get your senior items in that box, you're gonna have everything that we owe you. Okay. Yes, you can change your major like that, Swazo. You definitely can. All right. Don't let anybody tell you differently. Okay.
There was a question about STEAM graduation also.
Okay, I haven't been paying attention to STEAM graduation. I hope they're not trying to touch my 25th because we know that was the 25th. So what was the question, Source? Let me just try to see if I can find it. Anybody else? Do you know the question?
It was from Ms. Hunter. What about STEAM students? That was essentially the question.
So STEAM students, again, you guys are Westinghouse grads. You guys, yes, STEAM is a program and they have their own graduation, which is amazing. But you're Westinghouse students. You can get a Westinghouse diploma. You are always part of the Westinghouse community. Whenever you need anything, you're always going to reach out to Westinghouse. You're not going to really call the STEAM Center for student records or pictures and stuff like that. That's going to come from Westinghouse. We've been here 100 years. We're going to be here 100 more. So your Westinghouse students, and the graduation is June 25th at 1 p.m. Okay, so I'm going to make sure I call Mr. Price to make sure he's not touching my graduation date. Okay, diplomas. Here's the one thing. So unfortunately, we're not allowed to give you diplomas at the same time. First of all, diplomas are never ready around graduation time. They're usually ready a day or two later. While we're having graduation, there's always people working in the background printing out diplomas and getting the dates on there and stuff like that. We always invite those students back the next day after graduation's over to come pick up the diplomas. But as for chancellor's directives, we're not allowed to give out diplomas until we are officially back in the building, which hopefully is, the first time we're back is probably August 31st, hopefully. Um, so around that time, we'll have staff there to sort of print out diplomas and get those things ready. So there's going to be guidance in terms of final transcripts. I know the important thing now to get is to get the final transcripts over to the college. So they're going to give us some guidance as to how to do that, because that's an important thing. Usually those things have to be stamped and sealed. And of course, we can't do that because we're not in the building. So they have some answer. They have something that they're going to use. They're probably going to use some sort of vetting process that they do online. They have some e-transcript thing that they do, like through, I think they call it the clearinghouse. Like if you are going to a Division I school and you're gonna be an athlete, they have this clearinghouse thing that they verify your transcript electronically. It's all secure and stuff. Maybe they'll do something like that. I'm not sure. So unfortunately, diplomas we cannot give out until we're back in the building. So that might be the sort of the time when, if you do owe a balance on your senior items, that'll be the time when we'll collect that item from you in order to give you the diploma. So that's the idea. Okay.
Excuse me, Mr. Azwaga. They need
Yes.
to be certified before graduation. So basically, they need to have all their classes,
Yes.
on their transcript,
Mhm.
in order for them to be part of graduation.
Thank you for mentioning that. You're right. So the other thing I hated to mention, I was trying to avoid it, but you're right. So in terms of the vendor also, now the fact that we wouldn't know, that's why we're kind of doing mid-June, to try to get a real head start or get a heads up on who really is going to graduate, who's not. Excuse me. So if you did not meet your graduation requirements by then, sorry, don't expect a package. I can't give you a cap and gown, just like we wouldn't give you a cap and gown if you weren't going to graduate, you weren't going to walk, we wouldn't give you a cap and gown. We're going to work with the vendor to ensure that we give them a list of students who are going to graduate, so they're allowed in and they can share the links out. And of course, if you're not going to graduate, unfortunately, you won't be invited to graduation. You'll be invited to next year's graduation. Of course, you're invited to any graduation as long as you're eligible. But we have to certify, like Ms. Jean-Pierre said, by mid-June, once the mark period's over, and then we'll go through the whole thing. If we owe regents and stuff, we have to do the waiver thing. That takes a little bit of time. So we need you to do the right thing and be the young men and women that we expect you to be. Take care of your business. You have, I say, 3 weeks left to make sure that you are set for graduation. If you have PM school, the last day of PM school is next Thursday, so you'll know if you passed the course or not. If you have Saturday school, the last day of Saturday school is the 13th. At that point, you should know. You shouldn't wait till the last minute to know if you're passing or not. Your regular courses, some of you guys only have 4 courses. Make sure you're passing all of those. Do the right thing. Help yourself out. Get yourself out of high school, and then we'll certify then. Ms. J, did I cover it? Okay,
Yeah.
Michael, you had a question?
Yes. Also, if you know your child is failing a class, it's not too late to have a conversation with the teacher. Also, to make appointment with parent-teacher conference with the teacher on how to help your child. Before this remote learning, I made plans we have 175 seniors, and I made plans for 169 of them to graduate. But because of this remote learning, and the kids are giving up so quickly, and I understand why, but at the same time, the world got to keep moving. So parents, you got to talk to them, get them to do their work, have them meet with their teacher. It is not too late. That's it.
Okay, so I know there's a question in chat in terms, somebody raised their hand. I said Michael raised their hand. Who's that? Somebody raised their hand.
That's me. That's Mr. Ingram.
Oh, go ahead. Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but good evening, everybody, parents and seniors. I just wanted to say, since we're on the topic, the reason why I'm in the meeting is to tell you that I don't want phys ed to be the reason nobody graduates. And I've been telling everybody for a while, I'll keep this brief. I'm still accepting late work. If you're missing stuff and you failed, just get it to me or get in touch with me and we'll set something up and we'll get back on track. So that's really all I have to say. But take my words to heart, because if you don't do your part, I can't do anything to help you. Okay, guys? So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ingram. That's a good point. Make sure you, like I said, you have to have every course that's in there in order to graduate. Uh, sorry, just stop sharing. I apologize for that. The other question is in terms of what if we're different households, there's going to be a link that's going to be sent out to people. So if you have someone overseas or someone down south, out west, whatever it is, who wants to see the virtual graduation, they definitely can. And this opens up an opportunity down the line. It's not going to affect you guys down the line, but this is a great opportunity for us to explore as we move forward in terms of graduations, to offer this for people who can't make it. So anyway, so we're going to make sure we accommodate all the needs as well. We're asking how many people do you think how many different connections do you need to view the graduation? Because if you're going to have 20 people in your house, you only need that one connection. But if you have 3 people in your house, but then you want to invite auntie and uncle and grandma and extended family, you're going to need different. Everyone's got a different link. So we need to know that number. Just not only people in your house, but more of how many concurrent connections we're going to need to accommodate you. I know when we had I think the tickets, I think we limited everybody to 4 tickets, 4 or 5 tickets, I think it was, including yourself, including the graduate who gets a seat. So we're opening up for a lot more because we're all virtual, unfortunately. Let's see. Sorry. Next thing. Okay. So let me just share this real quick. I know I hit the button to stop sharing. Really fast. I know I mentioned this yesterday, but I think it's important to mention again. Grading policy changes. I know Mr. Ingram mentioned about failing. Chancellor does not, during this remote learning structure, he's not allowing any failing grades on the final transcript. So if you get a failing grade in your final transcript, you won't see that. You'll see an NX, N like Nancy, X like X-ray. And what that means is that you have to make up the work. It's like an incomplete on your college coursework. You have to make up the work in order to get a passing grade. And you have until January of the year 2021, which is the end of the full semester, to make that up. Don't wait to that point. I don't want to see like I said, I don't want to see anyone in summer school. And you have an opportunity at this point. And Ms. John Villa mentioned that we have plans to graduate 165 seniors this year. That door actually opened a lot wider because of the Regents implications have now changed. So maybe those additional students who weren't supposed to graduate, the additional 10 that we didn't anticipate graduating because of the number of Regents and classes, whatever it is, maybe we can invite a couple more to graduation because they no longer need Regents, provided they pass the course and they complete the course that culminates in the Regents that they failed. But you have to do the right thing, and you have to make sure that you're passing your courses. That's why I keep saying it. You have to pass your courses. We can't help you out if you don't pass your courses. So I also want to mention, if during this grading structure, you get your grades, and we understand that you have a lot less class time, a lot less hand holding in terms of seeing Mr. A in the hallway and him yelling at you to get to class, and having the opportunity to come down to principal's office and pop in, steal his candy and have a conversation, and I yell at you again and kick you out, all that stuff. But during that whole time, I'm talking about grades and graduation and progression. You don't get that. You don't get that luxury anymore. So maybe your grade slipped, and maybe you don't want to see that grade, that passing grade on your transcript, your final transcript. You can choose as a parent to switch that passing grade, a passing grade only, from whatever numeric grade that is, to a grade of a CR, C like Charlie, R like Robert, and that does not get averaged into your final transcript. It's a double-edged sword for a graduating senior. Maybe it'll bring down your GPA, maybe bring it up, whatever it is. Maybe college is looking at that with a little bit of scrutiny and say, hey, they just gave it a CR, not an actual numeric grade. What's up with that? But you have a choice. And for you guys as graduating seniors, we have up to 10 days to comply with that. So let's say you requested on today's the 21st. If you requested today, let's say the final grade was already in, you saw the transcript, and today's 21st, we have until, let's say May 31st to change that grade because you are a graduating senior. Anyone else, we have 30 days to switch it. It won't take us that long to do it. I just want to let you guys know. So we process senior items first because it's very important to go on the transcript. But I just want to put it out there in terms of failing grades and choosing to switch a numeric grade to a CR if you so choose. I recommend that you speak to Ms. Janvier or Ms. Pacino before you make that decision. And then, once we do it, it's final, and then we'll switch it. But if you have an NX, that means you owe credit, you owe stuff, and you have to make that up. And if you don't make it up by the end of August, you don't get the Regents waiver. And then now we're back to that same boat that we're at before, where we have to pass our Regents and classes in order to get out of high school. So keep that in mind, okay? Any questions? That's why I want to show on that slide. And the last couple of slides, and I'm not going to go, I'm not going to talk about it, just talks about, and I'll paste the link again just in case, just talks about the Regents exam, the waivers, and the fact if you guys are parents and you don't know if your child is doing anything or not, and they don't know how to do it, whatever it is, pretty much as long as they log in with their Westinghouse account in the Google Chrome window, there's, pretty much the upper right hand corner is like a little waffle icon. This has all the tools that the child needs in order to do any work for the teacher. So they have their email, they have their Hangout Meets, it looks like a little camera or a little chat bubble. They have the Google Classroom stuff, which I'll show you what it looks like in a second. They have Google Docs, which is like Word. They have Sheets, which is like Excel. They have Slides, which is like PowerPoint, and they have very important calendar, which has any calendar invites, any upcoming events, has the links to Hangout Meets as well, like you found it to get this meeting, so on and so forth. Next thing is what Google Classroom looks like. So when they log into Google Classroom, they'll see all the classrooms that they have. And when they click inside the classroom, I know a lot of kids complaining, especially STEAM kids, say, hey, I don't see the Hangouts. I'm supposed to be there. I'm getting marked absent. I don't see the Hangouts. What's going on? You have to make sure you're there at the time you're supposed to be there. So you have a class at first period, it's 9 o'clock to 9:25. If you try to log in at 9:30, you're not going to see the link there. But the link to Hangouts Meet is in the banner of the classroom itself, as long as you're there on time. So keep that in mind. And then we ask that everyone just comes in muted, maybe show your face for the first 10 seconds. The teacher sees you there, marks you present. And if you get a phone call every night, I can tell you this, I apologize. After this meeting, I'm going to make the phone calls for today. It goes at 6:30. I'll wait their attendance in, and I'll wait for the new. So do it. I will do live instruction. The child missed a live instruction today. Even if you submitted work on Google Classroom, you didn't show up between the 9 to 12:20 block. Don't let your child lie to you. You must be in school just like everything else. And our school is from 9 to 12:20 every day. Every period is 25 minutes long, and they must be there. There should be no excuse unless they talk to the guidance counselor, and who is Ms. Janvier, and expressly say, well, this is the reason why I can't go to live instruction today, or for whatever reason, and we need to know that. But for every other time, we're going to call you, we're going to figure out what's going on. So if you do get a phone call every night, that's telling you that your child did not show up to live instruction. That's all that means. They are still able to submit work at night and all that stuff. Mr. Ingram saying he's accepted late work, but the live instruction also has important information. I was Mr. O's class today. He's talking about job interviews and economics, and that's the benefit of having it. You have the teacher there, okay? So keep that in mind. And then I think there was one more slide. Okay, and if you need technology, we have about a month left of school. If you still need technology, the link is there. And then that's it. So if you guys have any questions, I am here for questions. And if not, I want to wish you a good night. I want to thank you guys for joining us. In that slide itself, I'll paste it one more time. On the bottom has my email address. It also has Ms. Rouse's email address and her phone number that you can call between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. Monday through Friday on work days to ask her any questions, and she'll direct your questions or concerns to the teachers. There's still one more day left for parent-teacher conferences, so please take advantage of that. If that doesn't work out, then reach out to the teacher. They have office hours after 1:10 that they can speak to you about your child's progress. Okay. But if not, if you don't have any other questions, I want to wish you guys good night. What do we do after graduation, like the MTA program? What do you mean, Kevin? I'm not sure. Like, are they hiring? Like, are you in that program? Is that what you're asking? Oh, I can ask Mr. Taylor. Well, I'll have him get back to you. I'm not 100% sure what's going on with the apprenticeship program. I know everything kind of got put on pause, but they're hiring you. It's like it's work. They definitely need NTA workers. So I'm gonna ask Mr. Taylor to get back to you tomorrow to see what we're gonna do about that. I know there's like 3 or 4 kids who are doing the internship. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Sanders. I see you. Thank you very much. Jason, stop crying. Put yourself on camera if you want to start crying. Everyone wants to see you that way. All right. Thank you, guys. Good night. Good night. I'm going to stop recording as well, just so Google send me the transcript of this.